One of the first words visitors learn when they come to Thailand is farang. Farang, which means a foreigner of Western descent.
We're in Koh Samui, Thailand. My name is Sean Robert Douglas.
I am farang.
This is my story. I was born June 20th, 1974 at Riverside Hospital in Toledo, Ohio. As a preemie, literally just as big as my hand. So I had a lung issue, apparently the lungs collapsed. They put me on a little incubator to try to get me to breathe. I've sort of been fighting my whole life since I can remember. And here I am today. Nine or 10 years old, I started training. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of boxing, taekwondo. Martial arts for me was my escape. I was constantly daydreaming. I don't think I ever opened a book. I was always practicing on my own in the beginning until we moved into a small neighborhood in Rossford, Ohio. And just down the street was a Korean family. The father of the family was Master Ko. So that was one of my first proper experiences in Judokwon and Taekwondo. I was determined to find stuff that was legit, that I could actually, use in the street or in the military, because my life, my direction was going that way. I wanted to be a military guy. My family has a lineage of Marines. My uncle was quite a decorated Marine. My father was a Marine. They were like superheroes in my life. Last name Douglas was always sort of brought up in the family as we're tough. From a very young age, that was the focus for me. The fighting came later. I left school, I went to the Marine Corps recruiter and said, look, I get to go first and fight. And he looked at me and said, you don't have a high school diploma, you can't come in the Marine Corps. And I said, what are you talking about? Marines now have high school diplomas, it's a requirement. So I went back for a year, every month, rent a suit, and my uncle also wrote a very beautiful letter. And they let me go in the Marine Corps, and they said after I got through boot camp, I'd have to go through like an adult high school. And, I had some high qualified belts already when I ran into these guys in the military, and they went through me like I didn't train at all. And it was just shocking for me. The Marine Corps set me off on a crazy path. It gave me the experience to travel, and it also brought me to one of the amazing places on earth, Okinawa, Japan, where the origins of martial arts originated from, this island. So when I went to Okinawa, it was a life changer. It's an air base, which is nicer than the Marine Corps. The barracks, the rooms are almost like apartments. And I was supposed to go to school as my job. Is they said, okay, here's the time you can do it. The class is down here. It's gonna last however many weeks. I think we attend 3 classes and they tell us the classes are canceled. Please just report back to your post. And I didn't report back to my post for 3 months more. Until they found out the school was canceled, and they reeled me in, and I got in a little bit of trouble. He sent me to Korea on a ship for a month or so. I got out of the military. I was living in the back of my small gym called the Fitness and Fighting Arts Center. And I was sort of the only guy in that area doing what we were doing, kicking each other in the legs, bare knuckle, kind of knockdown karate stuff. I wanted to take a trip to Thailand. I should come over here. I did some kickboxing, I did some fights in the US. I thought, everybody says the Thais are the best at this. Let me come over for a couple of weeks and maybe learn some techniques I can bring back to the gym. And I never wanted to go home. I came out to Thailand in the early 2000s and established a pretty big gym, Tiger Muay Thai. I was fighting out here professionally. But I never really set out to become a prize fighter. It was more of a journey to try to find stuff that would work combatively, in a real situation, because people would argue can Kung Fu beat karate and can karate beat jiu-jitsu, but there was no real platforms, there was no events back then until MMA came along. 20 years ago, this is me in the camp, saying Salam Pampla. These are all the champions, me bringing some students to the temple here in Singburi. They put me in the one of the sport papers in Bangkok for Muay Thai. So that was pretty cool. Especially this knee photo, man. He had some wicked step knees. Star Muay Thai right here. This guy right here. Ooh, so good. When you fight next? Next fight?
24
You naiครับ
รักสิรังสิต
Okay. So he's doing the protein shake. This is the original protein shake. I always like to go to the country and learn from that country. I just wanted to check the box. I didn't realize I was gonna stay as long as I have. You know, building a huge brand and gym in Phuket, working my way up to Lumpini Boxing Stadium, the historical stadium. Back then it was very difficult to reach. Very few boxers could reach there. And I also won in that stadium, so a whirlwind of things, my life changed. I gave up everything back home. Lumpini was the pinnacle for me. And you know, I did some of the big first MMA events in Southeast Asia. And it wasn't like chasing belts or championships. I just wanted to learn by fighting. Very traditionally in Muay Thai, they start to fight in villages or at the temple, like a temple fight festivals. Basic, primitive way that I feel like it was for a very long time. This is just like a little bamboo village. This is like how they would live typically back then, right? I envisioned when I came to Thailand that this would be similar to how Muay Thai gyms would look and all that, and it just wasn't the case. So when I built my first gym in Phuket, Tiger Muay Thai, I built it very much like this look. It's changed now, it looks nothing like that, but it was made originally from bamboo, the grass tops for the rooftops, our bungalows, and then just off of Tiger, when I opened Chalong Chai, this is the same accommodations I built for my students to live in, just off the land. So if you can imagine a ring in center and then the bungalows around, it was similar to that. All very old Thai style. When you go in a ring here, the Thais, it's their home, it's their national sport, it's their art. I'm almost going in here to lose, right? Or learn. These people are so good at what they do. When I faced these guys, they already had hundreds of fights. So for me, it was like, I'll just come out here and if I can just get decent at that. Although I've trained in so many martial arts, Muay Thai is like my deepest love and passion. The connection to the country, the culture, Buddhism, everything about this place for me, even some of the bad stuff, is very interesting and intrigues me. To live very different than I would in America. By very different rules, by very different guidelines. I mean, it's very different out here. But I've seemed to have thrived. I've failed many times, but for some reason, I can just continue to find my way to resurrect myself. So we're here in Singburi province, Singburi, Thailand. That's roughly 2 hours north of Bangkok. Small province, but it has a real rich history in Muay Thai and a lot of the battles, and of course Khai Bang Lajan. It's this always, reference to Thai boxing, so the area is pretty rich in that culture and history. This is Ajan's, my teachers. So Ajan had to put this robe on me every morning. I'm sure he was quite frustrated. So I'll show you up in my little room headquarters here. Room right here. So I slept here. I put my bed here. You just get a pillow. That's it. I had a fan. My doors. I keep this open all day. I spent a lot of time just sitting and chilling, meditating, and you know, working on stuff, you know, all the internal stuff, you know. So it really was an awesome experience. I feel like at some point I'll be back. You get a lot of downtime, you know, so you're washing your stuff in here. But I think I probably took extra showers just to stay cool. Go Kai Muay. ไป Kai Muay ครับ He showed me, teach
อยู่
me.
วัดถอดหมวก
Oh, still learning lessons. Fighters typically in Thailand, they live in the camp. You know, they don't go home and come here part-time. They live in the camp, they fight full-time. If they're young, they'll still go to school after morning training and come back from school. And we take care of all that. That's the responsibility of the gym. A lot of fighters will come here and, you know, they'll lounge and sleep. Some will sleep in the gym. We've got spare rooms in the house as well. Fighters are coming in from different provinces, sometimes all the way from the south, you know, 12 hours away. So, you know, they'll put them up here instead of like putting guys in hotel rooms and stuff. Muay Thai is very family. They'll either come to a gym or a local gym and they'll host them while they're in town. So we host a lot of amazing fighters here. Yeah, we're growing lemons. Here's lemons here. We've also got mangoes, of course, coconuts, bananas, the amount of lemons. The volume of the work rate that these guys do, it's insane. Even with the Marine Corps and the stuff that I experienced in the military, this was next level. Like I never had seen athletes train like this. They gave me one of those old VCDs and it was like all Lumpini Stadium knockouts, like a highlight reel. Bang, elbows and people just going to sleep, neck kicks and the most violent knockouts that I've ever seen in my life. And I looked at that shit and I thought to myself, no way. I'll go back with my kickboxing and my knockdown karate stuff. I've already done a bunch of stuff. You know, I'm young, I'm 20 some years old, thinking like that. And then to think that I was in that stadium just a few years later fighting is just incredible for me because that wasn't what I set out to do. But the trainer, he convinced me, said, I think you could fight here, Sean, I think you could fight. And so I extended the trip. I did, I think, one trip to Burma and back. The coach said, okay, we're gonna fight in Surat Thani. Not far from this island here was my first fight. They took me to Dan Sak and said, Sean, it's just gonna be easy fight for you, no problem. First fight. We get the bungalow, I get my Mong Kong, which is the ceremonial headpiece out. I'm getting everything ready. I hang it up in my room. I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be outdoor like a festival. And we're gonna check your weight. And then you come back, you can eat, relax, and you fight later tonight. As we arrived to the little fairgrounds, I didn't see any foreigners. The sounds that were coming out of that place were intense. Every blow, you know, every time they touch each other, you can hear them screaming. So it's just vibrations I'm walking through. They do the little back-to-back. It's like not even a proper weight check, you know, they're just like, these guys look around the same size, they're good to go. Yeah, I was quite intimidated, you know, this guy looked pretty rough. Guy from the US trying to add another badge onto my collection of experiences, and this guy fights to eat. And his kids are there and his wife are there and they're just sitting there on a little mat and he looks like an assassin. You know, I can see there's a lot of scar tissue built up around his eyes. And of course, I'm wanting to know how many fights? I understand how big of a waste of time and energy it is now today. Because when you come here to fight, just be ready to fight someone that grows up fighting. I go back to my little bungalow, I think, okay, cool, no pressure. They want me to fight on this undercard or after. The boys come running in my room. It's gotta be not 15 to 20 minutes after and say, grab your stuff, we go now, we go. I'm like, what do you mean? No, the promoter, he wants you to fight now. You're the only foreigner, so it's good for TV, you'll be on one of the fights. I was like, well, this is getting overwhelming at this point. I'm in this little car, they shuttle me back to the fairgrounds, it's like a field, but now it's packed. It's slammed, man. It's like a sea of people, you know, Muay Thai sounds and, you know, the accommodators and this big cameras. And it's just, from that point, it felt like everything moved lightning fast. Oiled me up, wrapped me, threw a cup on me, put half of a glove on my hand from some wet boxer that just came out of the ring. Everything about that was nothing what I experienced in the States with all these regulations and people checking my hands when they tape it. I'm thinking, these guys are building a knuckle, like a cast on my hand. It's my first go at it, and this is just like, holy shit. The ramways, the dancing that you see in the beginning of the fights, the ceremony that pay respect for your family, your teacher and Buddha or your God. And I practiced. So yeah, I was so nervous. I get in the ring and the music starts and I start to seal the ring and the dance went well. I felt really proud and the Thais just like really like embraced me. I could feel them cheering, and right then when I walked back to that corner, I go, what am I doing here? I don't have to do this. And it's too late. And then I turn around and bang, and after the first touch, it's gone. All that goes away. And I just want to fight. I start to enjoy it. It was something I was so afraid of for so long. So I'm looking at his legs, looking at his hips, and he throws a big overhand left because he's southpaw. He's standing right lead. He throws a huge overhand left and hits me square on the chin. My head snaps back. I felt like my head touched my spine. It must have been just a fraction of a second, but in my mind, I thought, holy shit, it's over. And then here I'm back and I'm pissed and I come charging. I hit him with like 3 or 4 punches. He goes bouncing off the rope and tip kicks me, you know, with the tip to my waist. He's just left kicking me and I'm not blocking at all. 2 kicks to every punch. So it was kick, kick, punch, kick, kick, punch. I come back and I'm thinking, okay, that was cool. I've had enough. My coach is gone. My trainer that brought me, he's not there. I got 2 Thai guys in the corner speaking Thai that I've never seen in my life. Now that are my cornermen. I'm already fighting with myself. I'm like, okay, dude, you're done. Just tell them your foot's so bad you can't fight anymore. At the same time, they're screaming in Thai at me, throwing ice and water on me, blowing in my ears, like all kinds of weird, crazy cornerman shit. And it's intense. And not to mention, then I get up and the guy takes my mouthpiece and he chucks it in the bucket, in the water bucket. And I'm thinking, where's my gum shield? Why did you not give me my gum shield? These guys are trying to kill me. Choke, fight. Back in there again. I busted him up pretty bad. I just never forget him smiling at me, spitting blood out of his mouth and just waving me to come forward. The next round, I get a little bit more confident. Before I know it, 5 rounds, it's over. I had a lot of energy. I felt like I just didn't do enough. For sure in the scoring system of Muay Thai, he killed me on points. But I felt like the Thais embraced me. I didn't feel like it was necessarily a loss. Like in the States, you would feel so bummed out. People would talk shit. You know, you'd lose a few students. People, oh, this guy's no good anymore. I don't want him as a teacher. There's a lot of this like other stuff going on around it. Where here in Thailand, it's just like your job. Yeah, that's great if you're Bokau or you're Sanchai and you fill stadiums and you make millions of baht, but most boxers don't. They just make enough to feed their family. That's what boxing is in this country. You lose some, you win some, you still go to work the next day. That fight was a big turning point for me, of like the deciding factor if I was gonna actually stay here and try to just compete and be a fighter now and do that full time, or if I was gonna pack my bags and go home. And that was when I decided I wasn't gonna leave here. I wasn't gonna leave this place until I got good enough at this stuff where I could compete. When the Thais fight, it's almost like a dance, a violent dance. It's quite beautiful, the timing of it. So that was my new mission, building a huge gym, a major brand, falling in love mainly with the culture of Thailand.
The banana tree was used when we didn't have heavy bags, or the Thais didn't have the equipment they have today, so they would kick the banana tree to help condition the shin. It's a pretty good surface, but it's not very, very strong. It has a bit of soft, like hitting the leg or the body. Okay, banana tree.
I actually came out here just searching for some more technique to add on to the martial arts I was training and bring it home, and a short trip ended up being a very long extended stay here in Thailand. I thought I'd come out to like a place like Thailand and you would train like in the jungles and it would be more like that. And I ended up trying to sort of create that later myself, like in Koh Samui, my little dojos and my fight houses. I thought we'd be training with like in bamboo huts and in the jungle, you know. I felt that just because of the martial art movies, I think I associated like how creative they were in the training, like especially the Shaolin stuff. It actually is, like if you look at the origins and how they trained before 100 years ago maybe, but now with the way the sport is, when I arrived, the gyms, the way the atmosphere was very different. That's why I built Tiger the way I did, was because of the bamboo and the grass tops. And it, for me, that's how a martial arts dojo or sort of temple would look like. You know, where I'm at now is I host a few retreats a year. No big numbers anymore like Tiger Muay Thai or like Phuket days. I prefer to work with smaller groups. I want to inspire people. I've learned a ton through this journey about so many things, not just the violence and hitting things and hurting people, but healing, mindset, and lifestyle, and just being a better person and helping people heal. I sit here and I look around and I go, I'm in Asia, I'm a coach, I've coached the highest level fighters in the sport. I've worked with actors, actresses. Like, I come from this little like city in the Midwest where most people live through the TV screen and can only hope to maybe pass somebody you've seen in a TV show, or all these things I would dream up, I brought to myself. I created this world around me, and I continue to learn martial arts. And people said, no, you're gonna have to get a job. They tried to pull me away from this, and I just continued. And I went through some really hard times. It wasn't always pleasant, for sure.
I can tell you it's never too late to hit the reset button, relocate, start a new life, create the whole story that you wanted to, you know, since you were a youngster. The minute you can travel, start to travel. There's no better education. Little places are a little bit more raw and real. I think it grounds you. I think it teaches you major lessons, and also gives you inspiration. Ask yourself, is that what you want? If that's what you want, then that's great, go after it. So travel, 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 get out of your fish pond, experience new places, try to live a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, and you'll grow, 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 grow. Yeah, man, that's all I got to say about that.